So basically, today we're going to be taking this stock XL Crazy Cart and putting the Sotion kit on it. You guys saw it in the last video when we compared this stock cart to the other Sotion cart that already had that motor kit in it. But today we're going to be upgrading this to that same exact one. So if you want to come over here, this should be everything you need. So this is everything you're going to get with a kit. You're going to get the motor and the fork already assembled with the tire on it. This is how it's going to look. You will have to install this bearing piece right here. I'll show you how to do that later. But you also get the if you chose to. You can just get this, but I would recommend getting the whole kit. So you get the Sotion branded Fardriver. It's a lot smaller than a lot of other Fardrivers, so I'd recommend getting this, especially if you're putting it on a normal Crazy Cart, not a XL. You might be able to fit a normal size Fardriver that'll be able to do a little more amps, but I mean, this is probably your easiest choice. And then you get a wiring harness for it all, and this should be all the tools you need. You need a 6 to take the steering wheel off, and then you need a wrench, an adjustable wrench to get that top nut off for the fork, and just a screwdriver. Go ahead and tear into this thing. I would recommend getting a car jack stand and putting it up the front here, because you're gonna have to take this whole fork off and it's a bear to hold it. So if you just get a car jack stand like that, you're good. So first, we gotta disconnect this motor lead. So we gotta come in here. One thing that's gonna be different from your cart is how I have it set up here. You might be completely stock, you might already have a different motor and controller in there, but either way, if it's stock, you're just gonna have 2 screws and you can take this whole controller out. You can just unplug everything. You really won't need any of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my battery out. And I'm gonna have a video on how to make one of these for under, I think, $35 for a 48 volt kit. So just undo all the wires. And I have mine permanently connected, so I just have to cut it. So you shouldn't have to do this. You'll just have a plug, and you can either depin the plug when you just stick needle nose or something in there and you can get the pins out. But really, if you're not gonna use the motor anymore, you can just cut it like I'm doing. So then we can come here and just pull it out. I got a zip tie holding it on. I guess most people already have their plastics off, but if you haven't taken your plastics off, obviously take your plastics off. It's just a couple screws on the side here. Now that we got that disconnected, we got to take this top hex nut off. And it might fight you some. I know mine, I had to take a hammer to it, but I've had it off a couple times, so hopefully shouldn't be too big a problem now, which I don't know, it might be. Oh yeah. I don't get how they get so stuck. There we go. Easy. So now we have that off. If you unscrewed it too much, this little wedge piece will come off. Just make sure you get it back because you'll need it later. But if it did fall in there, you can just, once you get this fork off, you can just tip it upside down and it'll come out. Now, I already have the Sotion bearing in there, but yours is gonna be about the same. It'll probably be chrome instead of black, but it works the same way. They make a special tool for this, for these forks, but you can just use an adjustable wrench. It works fine. So that first one off, you get the second one off. Think it's long enough? There we go. All right, so that's the stock motor out. Not that hard, is it? At this point, we're ready to go put the new fork in, but it's a great time to paint it. Already got it halfway torn apart, and I'm tired of a stock black one, so we're gonna go ahead and paint it. Or you can just skip to this time and go past the painting and just get right back to the installation. But I'm gonna paint it right now, so if you wanna watch me do it, stay tuned. First, we're gonna go ahead and get the seat off. So let's get that seat off. Ow, my arm. Hello? I can't, oh. Oh, gotta take the casters off. There's your whole bar. No way. All right, well that's it. Fully torn down. I'm still gonna go sand the whole thing down, tape off all the parts, get these stickers off, because you will be able to see the stickers.
Why are you blue?
So basically, it's a couple days later. I've successfully coated my entire garage in overspray, and we have the finished product right here. Doesn't look too bad, although I had a couple problems. This was supposed to be a simple one-day spray paint job, and it took multiple days because this Krylon paint, this Krylon Fusion, don't buy it. I tried it. I usually use Rust-Oleum, like the automotive Rust-Oleum, but they didn't have that many colors. I wanted some cooler colors, so I went with the Fusion. It was the same price. I was like, I might as well try it. Horrible. It, for whatever reason, does not like any other brand paint. If you put any other brand paint on it, it'll start peeling up, and that gave me a huge problem. If you saw in the video, I was just painting straight over this base after I welded it and grinded it. This yellow needed a base, so I went and got primer, and I put primer over the yellow so I could blend it better, and it started reacting to the primer, so I had to strip all the paint off and start back from scratch. And then I was like, all right, well obviously I want to clear coat this because I want to try to save this paint job for as long as I can, get a little bit better shine. Same clear coat from the same brand, you know, Fusion, everything, and that doesn't even work with it. You can see here I did a test spray and started peeling up and everything. In here too, I mean, it looks horrible. It's literally the same brand paint and everything. So just word of caution, do not buy Krylon. But I guess it's not gonna get clear coat. This is what it's gonna look like. I think the paint job looks good. I'm not happy with the fact that I can't clear coat it. It's probably gonna wear down pretty quick. Might have to redo it again one day, but for now, this is what we got. Everything's painted. Let's get it put back together so we can actually get to the point of this video and stop painting this damn thing. There we go, it's done. So now let's get back to where we were and actually install it now. So when I painted it, I went ahead and took off the headset bearing. So I'm going to show you guys how to install it. And when I checked this applied bearing, there was actually a couple balls missing. So I'm actually going to install an upgraded kit from Totems. So first what we need to do is come to this fork. Now your fork isn't going to have this piece installed yet, but since I'm installing another one, I'm going to have to remove it anyway. So all you're going to have to do is just take a screwdriver and try to pop it off. So you just want to go around it, pry it around. If you're using the stock bearings, you're going to get this piece, and this is what you want to install first. So you want to just slide it on shaft here, and then you can either get the tool, just search bike headset bearing race installer. I can put a link. But if you can go into those and make this a lot easier and safer. Slide it right over, you just hammer it on. But if you want to do the cheap route, you just need a hammer and a screwdriver, and you can slowly tap around the edge until it seats all the way down. You want to make sure it goes straight down and doesn't get crooked, because then it could get stuck and damage the bearing. If you're going to do it that way, make sure you go slow and careful. But I'm going to be installing these upgrade bearings. These are the bearings they send with it. They're not sealed. They can get dirt in it, grime, it'll wear out. And if you look here, this is after probably a couple hours of use. I think I might have tightened the bearings too much. This is what can happen. So I'm just going to put the nicer bearings on that are sealed. You don't have to worry about any of that. Here's the Totems kit, and this one is a sealed bearing. Let's see, take it out. It's completely sealed, so that way it's waterproof. Should last longer. And they send a race like this that's actually got a little cut in it, so it should be way easier to install. Just slide it down. Oh yeah. And you just barely have to press on it. So now that we got that race on, either one, I'm gonna take it back over to the cart. We can actually get it installed now. So you're gonna have a top and a bottom bearing. This one makes it easy because the words go the right way. But if you're using the stock one, there's gonna be this plastic little ring that you want to install at the bottom right here with the race. I don't need that with this one. But you'll have these two. They look very similar, but you'll notice one is actually shorter than the other. And that shorter one's gonna go at the top. So you're gonna take your longer one, stick it up here. Should be pretty easy. Now for whatever reason, my top bearing is kind of loose. It was with even the stock one was loose. I guess it got worn out at some point. You can see that it's not really that tight. So what I'm gonna do, just to get a little bit tighter fit, is get some aluminum tape and shim it. So now I have a little shim. I'm gonna put it on. Yeah, that's what you want right there. If you're using the stock bearing, there's gonna be a way, you can mess it up and put the bearing in the wrong way. You want the balls to ride, these outside balls to ride on this outside. You can see where it's worn down, that's where it's supposed to ride. If you put it the other way, this metal ring's gonna ride on here and it'll break it. So make sure you get it the right way. And since I'm using the upgraded bearings, it's a lot simpler. Kinda only going one way. Just want to pick it up and slide it in. Throw it away. And you can put your top nut on. If you watched the review video, I talked about how these threads actually don't come far enough up because they send this lock nut that's supposed to go on the top to lock it down. For whatever reason, they made this too short. I talked to them about it. They don't care. So I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to put Loctite here so that way it will at least have some chance of not coming loose. So get yourself a decent amount of blue Loctite on there. And you don't want to get this too tight or you can damage the bearings. You want to get it snug. Something I like to do when I'm installing this for the first time. Bearings can be a little misaligned. So you can go back and forth with your wheel, lock to lock. Yeah. Try to level it out so. Just do that a couple times. It's not too tight. Set that right there for now. You see I'm tightening it? Still moving really free. If you tighten it, it stops moving free. That probably means you went too tight. But if you move it and it gets loose in one spot and it gets tight again, it might not be aligned. So try to move it a couple times, see if it'll get looser. Good to me. There's a little bit of resistance and it got kind of tight. Now I would recommend after the first time you ride it, checking this nut again, making sure it's not loose. And since it doesn't have that damn lock nut on there, I check it probably every once in a while just to make sure it's not getting loose. Because if it gets loose, especially if you have these ball bearings, it will destroy them. And it'll also get that death wobble. Probably already seen the next issue, which is for whatever reason, I guess they put this bar too far in. So when you go to full lock, it gets stuck. All you gotta do is, there's two options. You can either get a grinder and just cut this bent in part off, or you can get some pliers and bend it out. I'm just gonna bend it out, make it easy on myself. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so if you can just get it bent till it's facing outwards instead of inwards like it was before, should solve that issue. Something you won't get from factory is we put all these zip ties on it. I'd recommend that. You know, there's a lot of wires compared to the stock motor, a lot thicker too. So you just put the zip ties around it in a circle. Come close. You just put the zip ties around it in this fashion. You put a circle around it, and then you can put a zip tie in between each one. Give you a nice design. We can route it this way. And how I measure it is I go full lock on this side, make sure nothing's hitting, move it around all the way. Make sure it's all good. So probably about right here is where you want to zip tie it to this little mount right here. So I'll get my zip ties, go to this top mount here, and just hook it up. You can leave it a little loose so it has some wiggle room if it needs it. All these wires need to go in this box here. Now some crazy carts, this one didn't need it, but another one I installed it on did. This hole right here on the other cart was too small, and I actually needed to get a pair of tin snips and cut away to be able to fit this connector through. But this one was okay. So if you need to get some tin snips, just widen it out. And I can't get them to fit unless you take out the throttle cable. Just barely get it to fit on this one. Put them all through. And then we're going to take another zip tie. Zip tie at this bottom. Now we can go ahead and install the brake lever. So I already had mine zip tied together with the wires. I think that's the cleanest look. That way they all go together. They already have it from factory coming out like this. So I just group them all together like this and just have it come through here. And you can put it right here. Let's see. There we go. Let's go to the electronics. get this. Oh man, might have to get this one in first and then get the throttle cable in. Yeah. This is how I've got my controller wired. It's really not too much wiring to do, but might be a little bit of a learning curve if you've never used butt connectors, or you can solder it. But if you're a beginner, I'd suggest just using butt connectors, where this is a butt connector. You put it on the insulated part, and you just squeeze down to crimp it on. What I did was actually robbed a couple parts off my stock controller to make this a lot simpler. What you're going to want to do first is find your key wire. It's going to be orange, and just cut it. And then you're going to want to get, it doesn't matter what wire it is. I think they have a couple. These stock controllers aren't labeled. Just get one that looks like this 2-pin female, and butt connect one side, it doesn't matter which side, into it, just like this, into the orange. And then the other side, just like I did, you can have it a little longer. I don't have much wire to work with, so this is as long as it is. You probably should make this wire longer. Take one of these ring connectors and crimp it on. And that will be going, I'll show you later, but that will be going to the positive, and that's going to be your on key. And then you want to steal another piece that's a male side, and do what I just did. Put 2 terminals on the end of it. And that's really all you have to do until we get to the cart. There's just be a few more things you have to do. And we'll go to the cart. I'll show you how to do that now. Here we are, back at the cart. I've got my controller, and the first thing you want to do is go ahead and mount this. Now, these holes are actually smaller than the stock mounting holes. I would just use them and put it about right there. You can drill out the hole, do it however you want, but I just use double-sided sticky tape. This stuff's really sticky and it won't go anywhere. Obviously, you don't need to roll this big. I just happen to have it. When you're mounting this, you do want to make sure you have enough room for your wires to get connected to it. Heat it up to get it nice and sticky. Put it on right. Cha. Simple enough, they're all color-coded. Even though this one looks a little more purple than blue. I want to show you this. Whew. Those are going to be close. So here's your charger port, and what you want to do is cut the ends off and put 2 more ring terminals on. Later on, we're going to put them to the positive and negative, just like this. But make sure now that you do this, this will always be live. So if you ever plug anything into it and your battery's connected, it will be connected to your battery. All right, so you're going to take this male-sided plug with the 2 terminals on the end of it and plug it into your on and off switch. So you're going to want to plug, it doesn't matter which one, but you want one into the bottom and one in the middle. And then you're going to plug this into the female side that I had you do earlier with the orange, with the ring terminal, just like this. So what this is going to do is whenever this orange wire gets the voltage from the battery, it turns this controller on. So we're having it come, this positive is going to be wired in here. It's going to come from the positive, go into the switch, and go into the controller to turn it on. So when you flip the switch, it brings power to the controller, it turns it on. So now we can go ahead and put in this little harness. Don't forget to put your little booties on. I forgot to put them on. Let me do that real quick. And you should have an aftermarket battery already. So I have the cable for my battery. I'm using XT90s. I recommend those. Those are what you want because this thing can draw over 70 amps and these are rated for it. You could use an XT60, but you're kind of going past the limits of what those are rated for. Get some wire with a plug on it, and the other end needs 2 crimped on or soldered on ring connectors. So now I'll show you how to wire this up. Go ahead and use those provided little boots. So I'll show you what you need to hook up to the positive first. So you're going to do a couple things. You're going to want your positive from the battery, the positive from your charger, and the positive coming from your clip. That's going into your start button. That goes into your orange. So you're gonna have 3. And for your negative, you're just gonna do the negative for your battery and the negative for your charger. All right, so this is about how yours should look. You got the 3 wires on the red, 2 in the black, the bottom and the middle plugged in to your plug that splits off, and your charger hooked up. I'm gonna plug your Hall into the other provided clip. And the only other thing you're going to plug in from here is the one that says throttle. And obviously, that's going to go to your stock throttle. Now, this, obviously you can tell these plugs aren't exactly the same. There's a couple things you're going to have to do to make these plugs work. Very simple. First thing is, there's going to be a little tab at the bottom here. So normally, it'd block you from plugging it in. You can just get some cutters, cut it off, and it'll plug right in. But if you look at yours, you're going to see that these colors don't match up. Mine does now because I've already repinned them. You see the red goes to red, the white goes to white, and then the black goes to black. So yours probably won't be like that, and it's not a big deal. All you got to do is take a couple pins out, swap them around. I like to use a little pick like this. And all you got to do is you can either do this side or this side. It doesn't matter, but it's easier to get to this side. So usually I'll do that. You're going to take your pick, and you're going to look down in here. You see there's a little tiny tab holding this pin in place. If you push that tab in, you can bend it. You should be able to just pull it out. Sometimes you got to stick it in there and pull at the same time. But there you go. It comes right out. So you just take them out. You don't have to worry about these bottom two, the green and the yellow. You won't be needing that anymore. So it's just these top 3, the red, the white, and the black. And that lines up with these. Just ignore the green on this and just treat it as white. So once you get all the pins out, you want to make sure that this little tab right here, might be hard to see, but this little tab right here is pushed back out, because usually when you do this, they'll get bent too far in. Now these colors should line up, and you cut that tab, you can click it in place, just like that. So with all that done, now we're time to go into the setup on the app. And just so we're clear, you don't need to use the 3 dial, the 1 line, or the reverse. Now you can set up all these, and I am planning on setting up the 3 gear, which is going to give you 3 different speeds, which will help give you a little training wheel mode. So at this point, if you're just installing everything you got in the kit, you're ready to skip to here. But if you want to go ahead and go in the description and buy a really cheap switch like this to add 3 speeds in, I'll show you how to wire that up real quick. Especially if you have like kids or people you don't trust to drive this thing, because this thing is quick now. I would put a switch on it. That way you can limit the speed some. I'm going to get the wire that's got the yellow, the blue, and the black on it. It's going to say 3 speed on it. Just go ahead and chop this thing off. You don't need that anymore. And strip them back. And we're going to install some spade connectors on it to wire into this button. How we want to wire this is the middle is going to be ground on this, and the ground is black. And blue is going to be your low speed. Oh, hell. Blue will be your low speed, and I already tested this with a multimeter. When these two pins are grounded out, that will be your low speed, which is ironically the 2 on it, but we'll ignore that. We'll just go ahead and do it. And don't worry too much if it's wrong, because it'll tell you in the app what speed you're on, and if it's on the wrong switch, you can just swap these wires around, and that should fix it. And then this will be my high speed over here. Now, I completely forgot that I was going to install this, and I should have really put a hole already for this, but I didn't. So I'm just going to leave it in here for now, because I don't think I'm going to use it that much anyway. Now, you can go ahead and get your battery, reinstall your battery. And hook it up to power. Now, I would suggest having your wheel not on the ground, so if anything happens, it doesn't just take off and you're chasing it down the road. Now, the bigger Fardrivers will have a beeper in them. I guess this one's so small they took it out. But you know it's on because your Bluetooth light is flashing. You should have been sent a Bluetooth module. It'll say download port, and you'll have this little dongle. You need this to start it up first. So here's your app. You just go to COM, and you should click scan, and it should pop up here. It's going to be that Juan Yuf. I don't know. I know that's it though. Click connect, and it connected. And if you go to your graph, you should be able to see. Obviously, mine's already set up, but you should be seeing most of this. So first, what we want to do is go into the settings and make sure everything's right. Make sure you have it at your battery voltage. This is a 48 volt battery, so just make sure it's on 48. Here's your 3-speed parameters. So I'll show a couple settings you have to do in Pro Enable. So you click Pro Enable, and this motor, you can copy all these settings. These are all right. If you've installed a 3-speed button like me, you want to make sure in settings that it is set to on high, low speed and functions. It is set to line 3 speed. If you're not going to have this button installed, you should do high only. I had an issue first setting it up that it wasn't working because I had my in protection, the low voltage protection was set too high. It was set for 72 volts, even though in the settings I changed it to 48, low voltage protection was still above. So this is what you want for 48 volts, all these settings right here. You can go ahead and copy them. But with all that set up, you should be able to go into your graph again, and this should all be good. If you have an error, it'll say it, I believe, at the top here, but this is what it should look like. You click your button, you should see it goes from 1 to 3. So for now, I'll keep it in 3. And now, the most important part, you have to learn your motor. So down here at the bottom, you see it says auto learn. You click that, you click enter self-learning status. What you need to do is go to your throttle and hold it all the way down until it's going to do a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to speed up, it's going to slow down, it's going backwards. Just let it finish. And then there you go. It says throttle error. You're going to let off the throttle now. When you go away, it should be good. You got the green check mark, and now you're learned. This app's pretty nice. It shows you how many kilowatts you're using, your RPM, the motor temperature, all this. One last thing is, if you watch the review, these, for whatever reason, they do a horrible job lining up where the steering wheel goes. So let's see where it goes here for some reason. Let me get this tightened up. So if you don't know how to line these up, there'll be a little notch in here, and there's a groove that you got to line it up with. But when you do line it up, get it nice and tight. So you'll see the arrow that normally points forward like this is just nowhere even remotely close, because this is where the cart will be pointing forward and it's going all the way this way. I don't know why they can't figure that out. It's pretty simple. But anyway, usually what I do is put a piece of just red tape or something where it should actually be, as you can tell. When this bar is all the way back, that will be going forwards. So you just want to put something right at the front here. And every cart I've got, the arrow's in a different spot. You'll just have to figure it out like this. But I'll get some tape and put it around there so we know. So I went ahead and put some tennis racket wrap on the steering wheel and put some paint where the front is. Looks a little bit better than duct tape, and it should feel a little bit better on the hands.